hour. Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining. It's lovely to see everybody again. And this week, as I mentioned before, the masterclasses are sometimes about external experts coming in and talking to us from my network and helping us to move forward. But equally, it can be time spent where we're moving each other forward. And this one we're going to try and repeat at the towards the end of every month, or actually start of every month, but end of every 4 weeks that we've been part of this. And it's about us spending a bit of time on one of the key questions that will have come up in the modules, and just working together and separately on that. So having a little bit of time to think about it whilst we're on the call, carving out that space to work on our business rather than in it, which I know we're all super busy doing all the time, and then sharing some of those findings, some of those thoughts with the group so that we can craft something that's really meaningful and that helps us all move forward in our separate directions. So for this particular one, I thought that phrase that we have come back to, I think, a couple of times now, the I help somebody do something by doing something else phrase, which basically helps you to clarify your value proposition. It helps you to understand exactly what you're offering as a service, and how you're offering that as well. And then as well as who obviously you're offering that service to. So being very, very clear on those 3 pillars is really important for a business, because we've talked in some of our sessions previously about potentially being distracted, about different ideas popping up, about how important it is to always have this kind of red thread throughout what you're doing, that you can always come back to your North Star, if you like. And this really helps you to define that and puts it out there from the perspective of the people that you're trying to help move forward, change lives of, whatever it may be. First of all, is there any questions, I suppose, about that? Because Paul, obviously I recognise that you are very new here, so you won't have a chance to go through the modules, and maybe not everybody else will either. So does that phrase make sense for everybody?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, great. That's always a good start. I think everyone else is probably fairly familiar. So what we're going to do is just to hand over to you. I'm going to turn your cameras off, turn your microphones off. Spend 20 minutes just thinking about that phrase. You can come up with different versions of it if you like. Happy to go through those if you can share those at the end. But equally, just try and refer it back to perhaps an ideal client that you've worked with already is sometimes the easiest way to think of it. Put it into, real grounded perspective of, I remember when I got this client on board, we achieved this result through doing this, and that's what I would love to do to, with X more people in that space. And that's often the easiest way of trying to frame it, rather than thinking of it too much in the future, let's say. So give it a go. Any questions, ping them on the chat. I will obviously be here. And we will aim to reconvene 2 p.m. my time, so wherever you are, in 23 minutes, apparently. So good luck, everybody. And I'm really looking forward to hearing and seeing where you've got to.
I've got a quick question. You want me to put it in the chat or ask you?
No,
so for me, it's 2 streams. So I coach individuals, but also want to work with companies. Do you think I should have 2 different ones, or try to merge them into one?
I mean, you can say you help, we all probably have slightly different people who we help. It's not just one particular person, but ideally sort of what are you helping them with, right? I think if you can try to help them all do the same thing or achieve the same kind of outcome, then that's going to be a far more aligned and easier process for you to manage. If you think it is 2 very separate things and you're still sort of testing the waters, then do 2, because sometimes it's a case of knocking on those doors and seeing which one opens the easiest, quite frankly. And that will be your path. That's where it will head. But remember when we were talking to Harriet, and I keep coming back to this example, and it's the same with me as well, to be honest. it comes down to one word for her, which is connection. And she's found many sort of threads, but it's all about helping whoever those people are to connect with each other through her platforms and events. So, you know, that's a good one to sort of bear in mind as you're working on it.
Thank you. That's helpful.
Cool. All right. Good luck, guys. Chat to you in a bit. Okay, folks, 5 minutes. Okay, that's been about 20 minutes. How is everybody getting along?
I made some progress.
Okay. Has it felt easy, difficult, somewhere in between?
I mean, I'm using ChatGPT so much more now. I think I used to have this thing where I almost felt like I was cheating using ChatGPT, but now I am leaning into it. So I basically have put the prompt of the I help who to do what into ChatGPT. And I said, I'm trying to come up with this. Could you ask me some questions to help shape it? And then I was having a nice chat and answering the questions. So I've now got about 10 different ones that I like. I feel like 10 minutes more, I can come up with one I'm happy with. I'm just pulling parts from all of them, but I'm definitely getting clearer on it.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I completely, yeah, I agree with the ChatGPT thing. I think that it is often ChatGPT remembers things that I just forget. And I'll have kind of long conversations with it about, various aspects of the business or whatever it may be. And it will remind me of things that I've already said or thought about that I'd forgotten. But do you know what I mean? It's kind of like a
Yeah.
better version of my memory. So in
It
that
suggested
respect,
something. And I
yeah.
was like, I
And
forgot
it's
I said
like,
that.
exactly. And so you're kind of bringing together all of those different things that you think about over a period of time and putting them into a space where, as you said, you can then pick the best version that works for you. So I mean, I completely applaud that. I think that's a great way of doing it. Anybody else made some progress on it that they're happy with, and we'll share in a minute.
Yeah, I've made some progress.
Do you feel like, I guess when I say making progress, yes, you want to come away with perhaps a sentence, but you also want to come away with something that you know that the next time you go to an event or the next time you have to pitch something or your mum asks you what you do, you could say it in a way that everybody understands.
I think it's that's I pulled up I have like a welcome deck that I send to every new client just so it helps them understand, and there's a photo of me so they can be, they know that there's a face behind or a person behind, let's say. And I actually opened that first because I was like, I wonder what is on, like what is in that, because I bet it's even.
What did I write? Yeah.
Yeah, like what did I write in there? And actually reading back, I'm like, maybe I'd change that a little bit now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I came from a like, who are we approach to then get the what do I do approach, I guess.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
then,
also another really important part of it is that it will change over time. It will evolve and it will kind of get better and more pointed. The more people you work with, the more you understand what it is you actually deliver for whom. And you can only do that through doing it, right? Through the practice and through people allowing you into their space in order to deliver on that. So that is going to naturally evolve over time. So I think it is always really good every 6 months or so to like revisit those marketing materials you've put together. Sometimes I'll go back to my LinkedIn bio and just be like, that's not it at all. And this happens so many times with diversity. We change the website every few months. We changed the messaging because we understood better as we went along who our clients were. As simple as that. And how we were delivering best on the problem.
and I feel there's a little bit of like confidence to it. When you maybe first start, you might not be as bold with how you say it. Or I know for me 100%, like if you'd have asked me 8 years ago, I would have probably felt quite timid about putting myself out there. Whereas now I have, I'm far clearer, even though it can change and adapt. I'm definitely clearer on what I do and who I want to work with.
I think, and I think everybody starts kind of a bit like that, don't they? And then gradually, as you go along, you do get more confidence. And as you found different businesses and do different things, you recognize that you need to be far more niche. Otherwise, it's not efficient and it's not delivering on the problem. And I think you do just gain, as you say, you do just gain more confidence as you go along in order to do that. Okay, anybody else got any insights on that quick exercise?
I was just going to say, for me, if you can hear me, sorry, because I'm on my phone,
Yeah.
but I a bit like Nikki, I did use ChatGPT, but I feel like I've been working on this sentence ever since I launched my business, and I really struggled to nail it. But I think to Charlie's point, I think it is a lot of bit of confidence, and also as and when like you work with clients, it is a lot clearer then, because otherwise you're kind of working in a bit of a theoretical space. But I think also I've got like 2 ICPs, and I'm not sure who broached that before we broke to think about it. But again, like me trying to get both of these ICPs into one sentence, and so, you know, it is what it is, regardless of the client or the business that they're in. It's still the same problem, even though it's different, if you know what I mean. So like condensing that into one like concise sentence, I've definitely struggled with. So I did put a lot of stuff into ChatGPT, and it has given me quite a nice little sentence actually. But
Cool.
yeah, it's a lot harder than it thinks if someone says just write a sentence.
It's really hard. I mean, that's kind of why I picked it out for this, because I know sometimes you imagine it's going to be easy, and therefore you think, I don't need to do it. I already know that. It's fine. But then when you actually sit down and try and craft it, it's difficult. Because particularly I think when you're at the start, it's harder at the start, because as you say, Mel, it kind of feels theoretical. And that's why I said at the beginning, think about a person, you know, have a person in your mind that is your ideal client, that you've done some work with, that you know you were happy with, that you know delivered on the problem. And sometimes that's an easier place to start. So we've got kind of 15-20 minutes. If anyone would like to share their piece of creative brilliance, then please go ahead. Don't be shy.
I think maybe you put people off by saying creative brilliance.
Well, Paul, if anyone has that as a tagline, then it's you, I think, of everybody. So I'd like to go first.
Yeah, I've been uncharacteristically silent and listening just to get the vibe. But I don't think this is difficult, because I've come up with this a different way, almost by mistake. And I think I know some of you have been in business on your own for a while and stuff, and I'm still in a day job, which is handy. But I don't see myself as running a business. I have literally fallen into this, and I think I've got 1.5, 2 customers max. And so I did mine really quick, and then I spent a lot of time going into the details below this, which I think perhaps is where you guys might be stuck, is you've already got all the details, and therefore the strapline is quite difficult. So I just said, I help music industry professionals to sell records by writing funny words. That's
great.
And that's so important as a writer, because most writers, and if you say, I'm a writer, people think that your customer is the people who buy your books. And as we all know, there's no money in selling books anymore because people don't read. But if your customer is actually the marketing agency, then you're in a different price bracket immediately. And then if you say, and I put sell records, right? You might think, well, hang on a minute, aren't we in the streaming world? Well, that streaming makes no money. So we're either selling records or we're selling gig tickets. That's where the money is. Yeah. And then you say, what am I doing? What is it that they want me to do? And I don't know, but I think that what they want is funny stuff. They don't want boring, bland LinkedIn stuff. They want memorable stuff. And it's the funny stuff for me. So that's why I said, there we go.
Do you know what I really like about that as well? It invites curiosity. It's a sentence that doesn't sort of explain exactly what you do. You know, it's not onerous. It's not kind of like, oh, shut up, like whatever. It's kind of, well, how do you do that? And why do you do that? And when did you start doing that? You know, it's kind of, you know, you're in a lucky space anyway, because it is obviously a very creative industry, and people are usually quite fascinated by that. But I do think that lightheartedness around it is a really nice angle, actually, and it's not one that I would have necessarily thought of. So I do think that's creative brilliance. There we go.
Well, thank you. But I mean, look, I'm not paying my bills on this, right? And I think that is a key difference. I think the second you start to think, oh God, it's this or homelessness, then that's a difficult space. But if you're thinking, this doesn't matter. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think that's where the confidence comes from, is having that ability to step back and say, this literally doesn't matter. I can always go back to wherever I came from.
Yeah. And I think also that kind of light-hearted, it's what do I get to do rather than what do I have to do, right? What do I get to do for people? What do I have the opportunity to do? I'm in this incredibly lucky position where I can offer X, Y, and Z to help people do X, Y, and Z. Like, it's coming at it from very much that perspective rather than, oh God, how can I put this across to people so that they want me to do that, you know? Yeah. It's a very different energy.
So hopefully that helps. But I think you're all in that, but you're all in a lucky position, right? You've already made that decision and ditched the day job and all the rest of it. So it's just about reminding yourself of that, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great reminder. Thank you.
I like
good
how
to have that fresh perspective.
I like how succinct that is. I feel like, how could I ever get
surprised.
mine as short, like as snappy as that? It's really nice.
Go on then, Charlie. Do you want to share yours?
Yeah, I had two because I felt like one was fluffier, and that's not really me. So I said, let me bring it up. I help people plan and book their ideal trips without the overwhelm. Instead of wasting hours scrolling through booking sites, or I did say doom scrolling through booking.com, so whichever way, they get expert advice, personalized recommendations, and peace of mind, knowing that their valuable time and well-earned money is being used to create the travel experience they truly want.
I reckon if you put that on, put it on the chat, I reckon that somebody else could look at that and just go, oh, I get what you do, but I don't need all of those words.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, pause was so short. How do we?
Yeah, and it should be that short. Like, it should actually be that short. And I've done this live in workshops with 50 people, and some people have just nailed it, like Paul did, and other people have just used lots and lots of words and never really got to the point. And I find that the more words you use, the less effective that sentence is, because you're really sort of narrowing down what you do. You're sort of marrying yourself to the solution rather than marrying yourself to the problem.
Okay, maybe just one little thing. I couldn't do this for my day job. Mel knows what my day job is, and nobody I know at work can describe what the hell we do. And I think that's because it's a business. It's this massive 500-person business. But what I'm doing here is like so simple. And I think if we can simplify, that really helps. Well, I'll shut up.
No, that's good.
I think that's it.
I'd love
I mean, I think, Charlie, you're not far off just with that sort of first sentence there. I help people plan and book their ideal trips without the overwhelm. You know, the rest of it is sort of like, you could probably put a few more qualifying words in there, but I don't feel like I need the rest of it to understand what that means.
I think one process I did when I was doing a rebrand earlier this year is I kind of tried to show my vulnerability to clients and say, I'm doing a rebrand. Can you tell me how I help you? So like to hear it from their side, as opposed to, I don't have the fresh eye, it's nice to have the fresh eye.
Too close to it.
And that was the thing that I just got back so often, like, oh, it's so overwhelming now. Instagram has become overwhelming because there's too much on there, and I don't know what the price of it is. I don't know if it actually suits. And, does anyone want to sit and for hours and hours going through so many sites that it just becomes another hotel room and blue water and white sands kind of thing. So I feel that really helped me to be like, it is overwhelming for other people, whereas someone gives me one brief and instantly probably 3 hotels or destinations pop to my mind, and it's as quick as that. And that does come from having traveled well, and I guess the knowledge and relationships that I've gained, which is why I use the word overwhelm in there.
Yeah, I think that's an important word. I think that's a really important word in that sentence. I think you could probably use the word connect, because I feel like, that's how I feel about you. If I were to reach out to you and say, Charlie, I want to go to blah, 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 and this is my ideal outcome or whatever, yeah, that's exactly what I would expect you to go, oh, well, I know this place and this place, that would be ideal for that, and you could do this when you get there. It's that sort of a thing. I just don't think you need the rest of that paragraph. I think you could probably just take that first bit, as I said, add a few sort of qualifying words in it. I mean, Paul, you're more of an expert on this than me. What do you think? I know you don't really know what Charlie does, but...
No, I do. So when she said, I help people plan and book without the overwhelm, bang, that's it. I thought she's finished. And then she goes on and on and on. And sorry, I got it straight away. Just do that.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Thanks, guys.
Just delete the rest.
I
it's
agree.
Like you feel you need to say more. I don't know why. It's like you feel you need to back it up.
It's always less.
You
know, my message this morning, that's a quote about, I don't have time to write a short message. That's a really proper quote from somebody. I can't remember. It's really hard. It's really hard to do.
It's really hard. Yeah. I cut. I've actually got my book here, and I cut it. It took, the writing of it, I think, took about 4 months. The editing also took 4 months. That was like basically cutting shit out. Yeah, it's not easy, but yeah, I think you're pretty close to that. I would say, Charlie, my kind of expectation of paper plane is also something around luxury, and I might be wrong there, but that's another word, like connection, luxury. I might put that in if that feels appropriate.
Yeah, I find the word luxury so hard. I wish,
because it's a bit.
I wish there was I don't know. It's so hard because I feel everyone's luxury looks different. If I think of ourselves, do we book luxury hotels? Do we book, work with luxury suppliers? We absolutely do. And I guess in the past I've been like, does it put people off? Does it get the right people? Yeah, I've never known where I sit on it, but
well, I think
it's a description of people
as it is now. You could be booking like hostels for students, is all I would say.
Okay, yeah, get it.
Those aren't your people.
No, absolutely not.
Do you want those people inquiring? No.
It's just the white glove. I think you seem a bit kind of defensive about the luxury, but just go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will speak to the right people. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm going to have a tweak of that with those.
Yeah. It feels good when you get to a place where it's like, okay, nailed it. Okay, we've got a few others in here. Wait a second. Right, Mel.
Oh, I haven't written mine down. Should I write it?
Yeah, go on. Mel, do you want to do yours and then maybe Jazz?
Yeah, so ChatGPT gave me the first one, which was quite long, and then as you guys were talking, I would just then gave ChatGPT another prompt, which was to make it sound a little bit more exciting about the problem we're solving, the opportunity that's present. And so then it is giving me, I help growing businesses fix what's broken in their hiring process, whether that means building a talent acquisition from scratch or overhauling one that isn't working. It does go on to say more, but I've just taken that like first sentence. Then you've got the first one, which is obviously just that bit more detail.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm trying. It keeps moving around. Hang on. Oh, it's not doing that. Help growing businesses fix what's broken. Arguably, every business is a growing business. Like I liked that first bit where you said, sorry, it keeps jumping around. It's really annoying. Where you said, from scaling startups with no HR or TA team to established businesses with underperforming recruit. It's sort of like I help under-resourced companies or something like that. I think growing companies is like, well, that could be anyone. That, you know.
Yeah.
And it feels like you create a sort of function that perhaps isn't there at the moment, or you step into a gap that isn't being filled. Like, just to give you my perspective, when we were running Diversely, me and Hayley, one of the conflicts that we had was where our gaps were. So it was very obvious that Hayley was brilliant at the tech and the finance side of things. It was very obvious that I could do all the commercials and the communications and the marketing and what have you. But then there were these sort of functions in the middle, like the ops and the HR and stuff like that, which neither of us really liked doing. And we ended up sort of dividing and conquering a little bit. And then there was overlap and it just didn't really, it was just a bit messy. It's that sort of thing, isn't it? Where there's no clear solution for HR or TA maybe. And you bring that solution.
Yeah, because it's difficult because, you know, what I do is like operations and strategy. So, and yeah, it's with those teams that don't have anything to those that are already functioning but just not optimized.
Optimized is a good word.
Yeah, I haven't used optimize in this one, but I seem to use optimize a lot, like in my own like conversations, and I'm like, am I just really overusing that word? But that is literally what I do. Yeah.
And I feel like that should be in there, kind of like optimize HR and TA processes in businesses where that's failing. I mean, that's not it, obviously.
Yeah,
but it's
Mel, you also obviously were talking about how you want to call your thing impact. And I think that like impact can be a strong word if that then ties in with the program that you're creating. So I don't know if you could get that in there somewhere.
Yeah, so there is another one, which is, and at the end of that, I say, this is all underpinned by my proven impact talent strategy. But I just feel like that last sentence just sounds a bit.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to mention. Basically, Mel has got a thing that she's come up with, and impact is the acronym and then stands for each different phase. But I think if then there could be something in there like I help, I'm not necessarily to create impact, but that then ties in. So not necessarily saying through my impact strategy, but I think that could then just tie in nicely with you then saying, you know, this is impactful, and then you've got your impact framework.
I don't think there's anything wrong with putting that in there. It feels like you then own a solution, you own a space, right? You're kind of, and again, it invites curiosity. It's like, oh, what's that? Because yes, I recognize myself and my business as struggling with this, and this person has the experience to help and has a framework that can help me. Like that feels like a neat, you know, solution that I can then slot into my, you know, my current setup essentially.
Yeah. And that, I mean, the framework I'm genuinely looking to like trademark it, so that I've got it, because I used it with a client just now and it worked brilliantly. So I'm like, right, I'm gonna use this, and I do now actually have a framework that has proven to work. So, but okay, nice. So I need to be like, so. Right, I'm no closer to my sentence, but I've got lots of things to think about.
No, you are, mate.
Go on.
What was that, Paul?
Yeah, I was going to say you are closer. So me and Mel know each other a little bit. I won't say we know each other well, but we know each other a little bit. And I think I know what you do. And I would say here that this second one, you're saying, so imagine I'm the customer, right? And this actually could be a situation, to be honest. you're telling me my recruitment process is broken, my whole business is overhauling, and stuff isn't working. And I'm thinking, oh God, is it that bad? You know, it's making me doubt myself. I'm like, who is this person? I don't even know them.
It seems a bit aggressive, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, oh Christ.
Yeah, it's probably probably better to like be more positive.
Optimize.
You know,
Yeah, right.
Optimize. I think
Yeah.
optimize is a great word. And if you use it already, Mel, then it feels like a natural fit, really. And forget about the growing companies. It doesn't really matter whether they're growing or not. That's not the problem.
I think, Mel, do you mean exploding, like scaling companies, like fast growth?
Well, yeah, I mean, because what I'm finding is established TA teams, the TA leaders seem to take offense to me reaching out and saying, I can help you, because they're like, I know what I'm doing, which isn't really the point. It's more supporting them in doing the stuff they don't have time for. And then the growing company. So yes, if a company is now looking to double their headcount, generally, you know, they can't, and if they're using agencies or they're doing everything on spreadsheets, you know, it's not sustainable for growth. And so that's the type of company I'm working with at the moment. They want to double their headcount. They need more infrastructure. So that's what I've gone in to do. And that's why I use growing businesses. But, you know, to Helen's point, all businesses are growing, but it's
make it sound more dramatic. Rapidly scaling businesses. I help rapidly scaling businesses optimize their HR process. I don't know, like TA and HR process, so that they can spend their time doing better things. I don't know. That's not it, obviously, but like be more specific about who it is. And as you say, like you said a couple of times in this conversation, these are the companies that I've worked with. These are some of the words that I've used. Like go back to that. Go back to kind of your, you know, ChatGPT is great, but ChatGPT doesn't know the businesses that you've worked with. It doesn't know your experiences and background. Like go back to your, sort of turn inward a little bit more, look backward in terms of what it is you've delivered and who it is you've worked with, and take an example of that and use that.
Yeah, because with the business that I'm working with at the moment, recruitment readiness is actually a term that I used with them, because it was like, you're not ready to do this recruitment. And so, you know, but that is really what I do, is assess how mature their recruitment processes are. Are they ready to handle a scale? Do they have the infrastructure? But yeah, like you're right. I think I kind of get a bit lost in ChatGPT sometimes, and I kind of go down a massive rabbit hole.
Because it's all theoretical. For ChatGPT, it's unless you have, you know, I put my book in there basically, so it sort of knows my life story, half of it. Unless you have like a long ongoing conversation where you talked about these businesses previously, it understands the history, all the rest of it, it can all feel a little bit surface level and theoretical. And I think that's not where you are, because you have been doing some work with people. And yeah, I think it's that sort of, again, that optimistic approach of like, I'm not telling you that something's broken. I'm telling you I can help you to make things better, to pick up the to pick up the pieces, you know, to see around corners that at the moment you can't see because you're too busy doing X, Y, and Z. It's like, it's optimization, right? It's kind of great. You're doing a good job already, but look, we can make this so much better and so much more efficient.
Yeah, which is basically the conversations I have with clients, which is like, you probably just to optimize what you're already doing, you've probably got a lot of the basic stuff.
Yeah,
you just don't know how to make the most of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like leveling up, optimizing, efficiency, like those types of sort of positive words, I suppose. Okay, we are at 2:30. There's if anyone can stay on, then very happy to go through a couple more. Jazz, you've put yours in here.
We have got a final version, I hope. It's going in the chat now.
I'm trying to find it. It keeps moving around.
So for me, it is, I connect hard to reach hidden talent, to career opportunities, coaching highly marginalized individuals, and guiding organisations to drive exceptional DEI and amplified social value impact. So Paul, what do I do?
Yeah, here we go. Okay. Yeah, you've got a few longer versions. No, it's good.
Over to Paul.
Just delete every other word. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every second word, just take it out.
We don't need highly. Take out the adverbs. Yeah, but it's really good.
Yeah, I think it's good as well. I connect hard to reach hidden talent to career opportunities by coaching highly marginalized individuals and guiding organizations to drive exceptional DEI. Okay.
Is the silence deliberate, or is there a break in the satellite?
I'm thinking. It's the silence is me thinking.
It's ruminating.
Or everyone's thinking. I feel like it's almost there.
Yeah, it's really good.
For someone that isn't in that world, some of the words, I'm like, oh God, I really have to think about what they mean. So I don't know if there could be like a simplified version. Not that you're maybe going to approach people that aren't in that world, but if you were talking to, you know, a dummy's guide to it, I don't know if there's like a more simplified version. That's how I'd.
The community I work with is prison leaders, yeah. And when you say the word prison leaver, people just switch off, yeah. So you got to draw them in a little bit. It's almost like peekaboo.
Of course, yeah.
You don't throw, you don't swing. You just sort of jab them a little bit. So when I say hidden talent, they go, well, what does that mean? Then I explain people that are excluded from school, people that are care experienced, people that are not certified with any school education, but have got amazing skills that are transferable. So I deliberately try and disguise it a little bit, because if I say, look, I help people that leave prison into work, they're like,
Could you just say, right, get rid of the hard to reach thing and say, I connect highly marginalized individuals to forward thinking organizations to amplify social value impact. Take some of that middle bit out, because I think, go on.
I connect hidden talent to opportunity, coaching marginalized individuals and guiding organizations to drive inclusion and impact.
That's getting there, isn't it? That's nice.
Write it down quick, Jazz.
Because I know what we work in.
It's the hardest thing. You say something, then you're like, oh, what was it?
I know. It happens to me all the time. I would probably take DEI out of there.
Yeah. I was going to say, we know what that is. We work in that area, but most people just do not know.
No, and it's these days it's very polarizing, and it's like, even when I sold Diversely, we went back through all our materials with the acquiring company and took DEI out of everything, because it's just confusing for people, and people think they know what it is and they don't. So I would say, like, I connect hard to reach. I mean, I would just say I connect marginalized individuals to opportunity. I've lost it now. To opportunities.
I connect hidden talent to opportunity, coaching marginalized individuals.
Why have you got hit? Why don't you just say I connect highly marginalized individuals? Why do you need the hidden? Could you not just skip that bit and literally say I connect highly marginalized individuals to career opportunities, working with organizations to drive amplified social value impact? Because those three things all mean the same thing, like hard to reach, hidden, well, they mean different things, but you're driving towards the same point. Hard to reach, hidden talent, highly marginalized. Those are three ways of saying the same thing. And I feel like highly marginalized, that for me nails it. Like hard to reach could be like super senior executives who are not on LinkedIn and blah, whatever. Hidden talent could be like mums at home, I don't know. But like highly marginalized individuals, that for me nails it.
That's the business.
Help us, Paul. Who wrote that, Mel?
That's Mel. I'm going to talk to Mel later on.
Okay. Yeah, help us, Paul. I feel like this is the one for you, actually, Paul. This is kind of
it is, isn't it? It's funny that it's
a perfect time.
Talented.
Yeah.
But I'm no
marginalised
expert, right?
individuals.
I've
Well,
been doing it a long time.
There's grades of expert, and you're more expert than we are. So
I know a bit about AI as well. If you want to talk about that next time.
That's a conversation for another time. Right. Okay. Yeah. Hidden talent opportunity, coaching marginalised individuals and guiding relationships. Yeah. That's nice, Jazz. Really cool. That sounds important. Right. Who have we missed? Who hasn't had a go yet? Nikki? 20? Yeah.
I'm 20.
Okay. Did you write
You put yours in the chat before me.
The realization I've had this week, because I've been thinking about what do I focus on, who do I aim at, I was then like, okay, well, why not just say that I can teach people about what I achieved? And like, my thing that I'm proud of is that I built a business that was doing really well, but I also didn't like work myself into the ground. I wasn't working crazy hours. Like, it was very aligned with everything. And it might end up being that this isn't the most lucrative space. And, you know, I can kind of pivot if I need to, but it felt like I can kind of say to people that I can help other founders run a business that is a good business, but also then fits in with like having a good life as well.
Yeah.
That's obviously not what I've just said quite there, but I think that's what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah.
I was just stuck for a few of the words.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense to me. Anybody else got any points on that? Because to me, that makes complete sense.
What you just said, Nikki, like the word that comes to mind is balance for me, and I think it's what a lot of people struggle with. So I don't know if that's like a key word that you could get in there, because
yes, I like that word.
Everyone's balance is a bit different, but it's what we're all striving for, I think.
I help wobbly founders. Yeah, it's that word before the founders bit, because this could be people. So for example, like me, I've been running my business for 5 years, or I'm about to go into my 5th year. Either way, I've been doing it for quite a while. And it was maybe then like 3 years in that I suddenly had this realization of like, I'm not aligned with my initial reasons for wanting to start the business. And so then I kind of had to not start again, but reassess. So it could be people who are just starting out, and it's helping them to, start aligned, or it could be people that are already in it, but they're feeling a bit, then that's the word that I
was going to say that the word overwhelm is definitely a word that I relate to, and knowing a couple of people that have recently gone into business, like our conversations are generally, I feel overwhelmed. There's just so much to do, and we're craving that balance. We're craving, you know, what we left corporate for, is that more of a balance. And so I do think that like the craving for balance, or the need for balance, or, you know, reducing that overwhelm, you know, I think that those kind of words will really resonate with any founder, especially myself being early on. And I know people that are, you know, still way into their businesses, still have that overwhelm and haven't quite found that balance. And so I just want to say I quite liked that those words that you put in there already.
Okay.
Yeah.
I help overwhelmed founders, blah, 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 so that they can feel more. So maybe not the focus, fulfilled, and less frazzled. It could be more focused, fulfilled, and more balanced. Or
Or find their balance or something like that.
Yeah, find their balance is
find
nice.
Yeah. So you're going
And
from
then for that-
overwhelm to balance. It's like a
Or
journey.
maybe just like an in control thing. I mean, control is a bit of a weird word. That might not be the best word, but regain control or regain alignment or because it does
Yeah, I'll
feel a
play
bit
around
like
with
that.
those.
There's like so many plates spinning. You're just like, I don't know which way to go next. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. Because then, like, part of the story I'll tie it in with is it got to a point where business was going so well, and I didn't, which honestly is a really good place to be in. But I then was just trying to do so much and then started neglecting other things. And so it then kind of got to this point when it was like, I'm a bit out of control. So yeah, I really like that because I can then tie it in with stories. It's just the last bit as well of the like, by combining psychology led coaching, because I've got a psychology degree and a diploma in counselling. So it's like with that, but they're not necessarily my experience, but I want to kind of say that like I can also provide advice because of my own experiences.
As you could say, like, I don't know, I can't see the thing now, but something like
Mentorship.
as a qualified, not psychologist, but as a, I'm thinking of describing, like, how to describe you
Yeah.
as a,
What about coaching and mentorship? Because when you talk about mentorship, it means that you've been there, done that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. By combining psychology-led coaching with experience-backed mentorship, but then it gets like quite a lot of words. Okay, I'll play around with a few things, but yes, I like getting balance.
maybe like real world experience. You could say that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
find
I like that.
we've
Yes,
been
come on, Paul.
we've been rewriting our things at work quite a lot, and something that strikes me here is there's a different way of writing if you want to put it in a brochure. But what we found was when we were on a trade stand at a conference, you can't talk like that. It doesn't sound like a human. And I wonder whether, if you imagine standing up and somebody said earlier, I think Helen said something about, you know, a party or telling your mum or whatever it is you do. What is it? What's that one? Can you get it down to one sentence? And if you can get it down to one, then you can build it back up again. But I think you're pretty close. Yeah.
The thing is that's difficult here. I'm trying to come up with the sentence for what I do, and I don't yet do it. And that is the difference with what you were saying about yours, Paul. You're already doing it, and you're then coming up with a sentence for that. If I had to come up with a sentence for my recruitment company, which is very established, that's really easy to say what I do. But for this coaching part, which is a new service I'm launching, I'm trying to come up with what I do, but I don't yet do it.
Interesting.
So that's where it's difficult. But future me does this, so I'll talk.
You also find it easy to write other people's as well. You know what I mean? It's like that detachment is really important, because I can say about Charlie, she's amazing. You know, she just did that. I don't even know her, but she wouldn't think that about herself, maybe, because she's in the details all day, 90 hours a week, weekends, 7 days a week. You know.
Yeah, and I mean that's sort of why I wanted to do it on this call, really, so that we had everybody else's perspectives. That's because great. It's just, it is really hard when you're close to it.
Yeah.
Because you have so many ideas as well. It's not like you start a business with one very succinct thing. Quite often it's like, well, it could be a bit of this and it might be a bit of that, and you sort of try things, and you know, some things will stick and some things will not. But it's getting it down to that core reason, really, that you wanted to start it in the first place. Like, what was, you know, like Charlie, you know, what was the reason? Because you saw people struggling with getting this shit done, right?
I can't even book one train to Manchester without a nervous breakdown. There's so many options. I just want to ring somebody and go, yeah, How come it is 700 quid?
Oh God.
Oh,
It-
no.
When I started, I literally emailed my secretary and said I want to go to Manchester, and then 2 tickets came back in the post. That was it. And now it's a nightmare.
And it's peak, and they don't tell you what the peak times actually are, so then you have to
so you get
somehow.
fined
You're
as
like,
well.
what? Yeah.
I need Charlie in my life.
Yeah, I'm not sure she does train bookings, but perhaps you could add that to your
No,
services.
but yeah, but you see.
But
yeah, totally.
I feel like
Okay.
with yours, if you were to say it to me, I wouldn't even need that first, like the ambitious or overwhelmed. I help founders, because everyone might be in. I don't know if you say overwhelmed, are you pigeonholing a certain group?
Yeah, I know, that's why we're then like,
overwhelmed. Yeah, it might just be like, through my own experience, I help founders align their business with their values and blah blah blah. But
Yeah,
I think
actually,
if we were out for a drink, that's probably how you'd say it to me.
yeah,
that's true. Maybe I think about how I would then say it to you, and then it's just because obviously then, like Mel was saying, that sometimes when you see that keyword of like overwhelmed, then that gets to you and you're like, oh, I am overwhelmed. But that's whereas with yours, Charlie, I feel like you almost need to play on it a bit more. Like you are looking for people who are successful, right? And they want to be able to have a really nice holiday. They don't want to plan it themselves. And like we were saying, you're not playing the luxury thing, but like I think you almost need to upplay, is that a word? But like I almost think you need to go for that and be like, and you're quite successful and you've got quite a lot of money and you'd like to do a nice holiday, but you don't want to book it yourself.
That's exactly
totally. I don't think you should shy, like Paul said, I don't think you should shy away from that, because your branding and everything that you do says that anyway. Like that speaks volumes anyway. So I think
I love
you
hearing
owe it
that.
to yourself.
You really don't want
I like
plebs.
hearing that.
Yeah.
Well, it's as Helen just said, I don't want to be booking the trains to Manchester.
Yeah, exactly. You know what
Exactly.
And I think a huge part for me is I also hate watching people spend a lot of money on not very good places, and you're like, oh, you know, why did you go? Why didn't you just ask someone, even if it's not me, just ask someone that's good at this kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like sort of a dream. Like ideal might even be underplaying it, like dream, or you know, like go a bit bigger on the imagery, I think. And Nikki, on yours, like I would agree with the sort of founder thing. Like when I was creating the stuff for all of the Founder Sanctuary, I started with a bunch of adjectives around founders, and I realized I didn't need any of them. Like you just don't need them. As long as you can explain what you're doing and how you're trying to move people forward, you don't really need to say, oh, I help founders in their 20s, or I help founders who started businesses, or I help solo. You know, this is kind of where I was starting with, like not those particularly, but your people will find you, I think, because they'll identify with the problem that you're solving. You don't need to define them necessarily. Whereas I think, Charlie, you're at a point where you you clearly can, because those are the people you work with.
Yeah, for sure.
So then is it next? Okay. You said it's oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking over you.
Oh, go on.
You said it's next module that we're then going to be doing like our branding and bios and things like that, right?
Yeah, like outreach and stuff. Yeah.
And I guess that is where then this will probably tie in more, because if I then, or if all of us then start doing, you know, like stories about our background and what's got us here, that probably then brings in the right type of people, right? Because if I have a story of I did this to achieve this, so I guess that's where you can take it out. Okay.
Yeah,
exciting.
It kind of boils down to authentic influence, really. It's like, you know, if you can't justify why you're doing this and why you're the best person to solve it, and kind of evidence that, then it all starts to kind of crumble a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, great, but why would I trust this person? You know, So it's about
Yeah.
sort of being able to provide that evidence through storytelling, through outreach, through branding, through all of that sort of strategy. And yeah, that's what module 2 is about. Okay, Twane, we've got, let's close this at 3 then. Twane, do you want to do yours?
Yeah, so I'm wondering if I should drop the first adjective then. I help ambitious and individuals and organizations to transform so they can create lasting success by combining coaching, workshops, and consulting services.
Sorry, is yours in the chat? I'm just trying to.
I'll paste it again at the bottom.
Yeah,
sorry.
Oh
yeah, amazing. Thank you.
Oops.
Mine's going.
Why is it? No, let me do it from
Don't worry
my
if not, I'm
desktop
sure.
rather.
Oh yeah, no.
It's a lot shorter than it started out from the beginning with me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, amazing. Thanks.
I agree with taking out the ambitious, because then it is kind of saying that you're not going to help people who aren't that ambitious. Because you could have somebody that's like not super ambitious but still wants to do better.
Could you say I coach? So you, as in, is that like that's the main premise of what you do, rather than I help by coaching? Is it that you coach individuals and organizations to transform?
And to transform into what? Into butterflies.
Yes, they evolve. I coach.
I coach individuals.
And I think I think yours is probably suffering from being too generic. Because I could read that and think, I help ambitious organizations to transform. That could be organizational transformation, that could be processes, it could be strategy, it could be hiring, it could be so many different things, or equally it could be personal transformation and leadership.
And that's
and whatever
what I'm
else.
struggling with, because for an individual, it's that, but for an organization, it could be their engagement strategy or their performance improvement process.
Twane, did you come up with 2?
No,
Because
I've merged the one with the one, because Helen said to think about one word that threads it all together, and that was transformation or transform.
similar
But yeah, you can't
situation to
see
you.
what I do by that.
Yeah, I eventually also want to do coaching for employees, but I think I will start that as then a separate offering. And then, as Helen said about like that thing that connects it, you might then find that there is a theme from both. But personally, for me, I found it way too hard to think of one that encompassed both. So I was like, I'm just going to focus on one, and then you can make that more specific.
I think Nikki and Twana, you're probably in a very similar situation in that because you haven't done enough of it yet, it's hard to find that sort of red thread. And I would say it probably took me a year from exiting Diversely to figure out what that was for me. And it worked mostly through the conversations that I had. I had hundreds of conversations with founders, and obviously coached a bunch of them as well. And it always came back to kind of a couple of different points that I would help them or they would ask me for help with. And, you know, that then drives where you put your focus. Because it's generally what you're best at, right? Like those things are the things that you can really, really help people with. So when I read this, like, what is your sort of gift to them? You know, what is the thing that you can help them transform into or by or with that other people can't? You know, like with Jazz, his is super clear because he's been in that situation. He has been you know, on the other side of the prison bars. He understands inherently who is in that space, where they could be, and how we can help them to get out of it. And he's also worked in the corporate world, so he knows how to connect the dots and play that game. What is it that you can bring, or that you're bringing to these individuals that, or corporates, that is that like, and again, it's sort of like that turning inward bit. It's never going to happen on ChatGPT. That's you kind of going, where do I find my joy? Where do I find my, like, what lights me up? Like, what conversations do I have where I'm like, I'm so enjoying doing this work, you know? I totally get, we can all do lots of different things for people. Like Charlie could go and book trains tomorrow if she wanted, but like, that's not, you know, that's not where she's landed, because
Very joyful.
trains. I don't know, but some people do. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm still struggling with so I consulted for years, and I really enjoyed it when I helped managers solve problems or consulted with them, you know, and made their lives easier. And then for individuals, it's when I see them have an aha moment or get clarity or just a different perspective, and you see the light bulb go on, like that, or their eyes light up because that question shifted something for them.
Then think about what those questions were, and think about what those specific I would say what those specific moments involved. And you might not find this in your conscious brain. You may need to kind of switch that off a little bit and go and do something else, or, you know, you might need to pay attention to what you dream about tonight or whatever it is, but there'll be like something that is a common connection.
Twane, can I send you the prompts that I put into ChatGPT? Because it was literally from, like, I said, I'm trying to figure this out. Can you ask me some questions? And it asked me questions, and I just answered without thinking. And then it came back and it said, it sounds like this is what you enjoy doing. And I was like, oh, it is. And it was literally 2 days ago that I then went, why am I not coaching people to do what I've done? Because that's what I enjoy. So just try that. Like, it takes 5 to 10 minits.
That's a
And
great
you might
idea.
come back and go, oh my God, I'll message you just what I put in, and then you can have a chat with old Chatty.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think if you can, yeah, it's sort of digging in a little bit, isn't it? Okay, folks, we are at 3 o'clock, so let's wrap this up. But thank you, everybody, for sharing, and most importantly,
or you waving?
Getting your hands dirty and getting involved.
No, sorry, just very quickly on that last point, Tawani, is get out of your head and into your heart. Yeah, so be heart-led and not in your head. And the moment you stop calling it work, that's the aha moment. That's the penny drop.
It is, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Jazz.
This was such a good session. I loved this.
Yeah, really good. Feels like we've all moved forward a few steps.
And nice to learn about you all. You know, like, it's reading it. Say reading it's different, but diving into the hows and the whys and all of that.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Well, thank you, everybody. And let's update these, mate. You know, when you get to the point where you're like, yes, nailed it, please post them, because I think we'd all love to see. And have a lovely rest of your Thursday, and I will see you all again on Monday.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.